are the three things that you might have missed from the Cambodia-Thailand border clash from an unheard perspective. Did you know that the first casualty of the war is actually a Cambodian soldier by a sneak attack by Thai forces in May 28th, 2 months before this all went down? For your information, the site is actually a disputed area where both parties agreed to have routine military patrols. Thailand claimed Cambodia had been digging new bunkers, but where's the proof? The only proof is the death of a Khmer soldier caught by surprise in his downtime in a bunker. Footages showing civilian damages in Thailand have sparked global sympathy and outrage. And let me be clear on this point. I do not condone war. I do not condone violence. What is missing, though, is that only hours into the beginning of the clash, in the very first day, Thailand deployed their dangerous F-16 bomber jets. That is an act of aggression, and in self-defense, Cambodia had no option but to fight back. We do not have fighter jets to go toe-to-toe with them, and as reported by Thailand itself, our military equipments are lacking in defensive strength compared to them. This is because we don't have any plan to invade anyone. Why would you want to invade a bigger, stronger country when you don't even have one fighter jet? All of our military strategies have been geared towards self-defense. The Cambodian military equipment lacks precision targeting, and I am personally devastated at the loss of civilian lives because of this war. But let's be clear on this point, it's not happening only on one side. Thai forces have the advanced technology of precision targeting, and they targeted civilian areas, they targeted our homes, they targeted hospitals, schools, and pagodas, killing one Buddhist devotee who was praying in the temple for peace. As I'm recording this video on July 26th, at least 8 Cambodian civilians have been killed and 50 more have been injured. 5 soldiers have lost their lives and 21 more were injured. At least 35,000 Cambodians have been evacuated, their future uncertain. Our infrastructures were bombed and damaged, and one of the most heartbreaking things is the destruction of a World Heritage Site, our Pravihir Temple. At least 40 people were trapped inside the sacred temple for 2 days because of heavy firing from Thailand. They were only evacuated to safety just minutes ago as I'm recording this video right now. So no, the aggressor is not Cambodia. Cambodia is also a victim of this war. You may have seen claims of Thailand, claiming to be a peaceful nation, only wanting peace, especially after the United Nations Security Council meeting, which was urged to convene by our Prime Minister, by the way. Now, they're open for peace talk is a bilateral talk, and this bilateral talk is a bullying tactic from Thailand. Now imagine this, if your neighbor and you had a heated argument on a piece of land between your property, for example, and your neighbor is richer, he's stronger than you, and he's generally well-liked in the neighborhood. Now, would you want to talk it out with him, just the two of you? No, of course not. It would not be a just discussion. It would not be fair. So of course you would ask for help. You would ask for legal help. You would ask for at least third-party mediation. And that is exactly what Cambodia has been consistently doing. Peaceful resolution has been Cambodia's stand since the very beginning. In June, before any of this has happened, Cambodia has filed a case to the International Court of Justice. And Thailand has responded that they would not show up in court. Now, in what universe would not showing up in court be considered as a proof of innocence? Statements can be made by both sides with very little evidence to show. What would really determine the truth of these statements would be an independent third party like the ICJ. Cambodia is not afraid of having our evidence investigated. Now, why would Thailand be so afraid of showing up in court if they were telling the truth? Afterwards, Thailand continued to show signs of repeated aggression towards Cambodia. They have threatened to cut off fuel supply. They have threatened to cut off our electricity supplies. We respected their decision and found supplies elsewhere. Thailand closed the border. We followed suit, and somehow we were painted as the aggressor. Thailand has expelled our embassy. We respected the decision and called them back home. At every turn of the way, Thailand has shown nothing but aggression and hostility, economically, diplomatically, and now militarily. Did you also know that the rotating chairman of ASEAN, the Malaysian Prime Minister, His Excellency Anwar Ibrahim, actually mediated, asked both parties to cease fire and to talk it out. At first, Thailand and Cambodia both agreed to this proposal, only to get a change of mind from Thailand 1 hour later after the phone call. 1 day later, the spokesperson from Thailand has told Reuters and other international media outlets that Thailand would not accept third-party mediation and would prefer bilateral talks. Now imagine if you were Cambodia, would you want to be in a room, just the two of you, with a neighbor who is stronger than you and you're more economically reliant on them? Would the talk be just? Would the talk be fair? This is nothing but a bullying tactic from Thailand to force Cambodia to compromise more in the talk. Bilateral talks do not work. This is why it's happening in the first place. If it worked, none of this would have happened. Thailand wants bilateral talks where all of their terms would be accepted, no questions asked. Now, painting Cambodia as somehow the aggressor in this situation makes no sense because we have consistently been direct, true and honest to our words regarding our demand for peace. Now, the third point is that earlier this month, Thai soldiers were injured by landmines. They claimed the mines responsible for the injuries were PMN2 anti-personnel mines freshly planted by Cambodia. The Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority has refuted the claim because one, the blast actually happened in Cambodia. It happened in an area that has been officially documented as having legacy landmines, remnants from the US bombings of Cambodia during the Vietnam War. If you didn't know, the reason we have much less civilians living along the border of Thailand is because our country has been heavily bombed by the US during the Vietnam War, while we were a neutral party in the situation. An estimate of 500,000 tons of bombs were dropped, and as a result, hundreds and thousands of landmines were left, especially in rural areas like the site of the clash. My own great-grandmother was actually killed by one of these bombings, and my mother still suffers from witnessing that as a child. And if they were indeed newly planted PMN2 models, then the injuries would have been more devastating. Yet the injuries of the Thai soldiers point to a less powerful and older model of landmines already exists in Cambodian soil because of previous wars. Now, would you take a Cambodian word for it? No. That's understandable, and that is why we want to meet Thailand in the International Court of Justice. We have all the evidence and we are confident that we will win this in court. If Thailand was so sure about their claims, why wouldn't they show up? Cambodia is a small country. We have been plagued by wars, genocide, poverty, and hunger. You will be hard-pressed to find a stranger on the street who did not lose a family member or friend to war. We are no stranger to the immediate and the long-term effects of war. Our elderly are still suffering from war PTSD, and our children are still afraid of landmines. In 2025, we are still rebuilding our country, and yet Cambodia has been consistently ranked as one of the friendliest people on earth. We don't want our trauma to define us. We want peace, we want cooperation, we want growth. We want to build a better future for our people. We have never had the intention of attacking anyone, much less the bigger Thailand, who has 10 times our GDP, 4 times our population, and is a major importing and exporting partner for our economy. We have more than 1 million Cambodians living in Thailand as immigrant workers, and they are the pillar of support for their families back home. One thing is clear, we do not gain anything from this war. I am not a professional political analyst. I'm just a regular citizen wanting to go about my life in peace. But I am making this content because the international news media outlets have failed us. As headlines flooded the internet following the clash, my disappointment only mounted as one article after another was published, conveniently omitting the causative reports, the statements from Cambodian officials, and the footages of victims in Cambodia. In contrast, they have been featuring Thai journalists, Thai correspondents, and Thai sources to paint a very heavily biased picture of the situation. I ask you, please, my international friends, to remain open-minded and to critically examine the sources from both sides and look at the actions of the supposedly peace-wanting nation. I am not nearly educated enough, and there's not enough time in this video to talk into the potential reason why Thailand would want to paint Cambodia as the bad guy and to instigate this war in the first place. But there have been patterns of Thailand dragging its neighbors into clashes like this in order to gain political points when their internal politics is in turmoil. I urge you to study further into the history of Thai military coups. If you would like, this is actually a very short and good explanatory video on the subject. And lastly, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time of your day to study more about this topic and to pay attention to this issue. And I urge you to join hands with Cambodia in pressuring Thailand to cease fire and to accept peaceful negotiations mediated by a third party. This is our only way to justice and peace.